Hello everyone, welcome to another Hobby Rants and Ramblings video. Topic of today is Games Workshop's direction and which or what way they are looking to go in terms of how they're taking their business forward. As I see some major hurdles for them coming up in the not too distant future. Now, this isn't a video to shit all over Games Workshop and what they do, because Games Workshop and Warhammer has been literally a cornerstone of my life and existence for nearly 30 years. I've I've been a massive fan of what Games Workshop have released, the different universes and the books and the lore and the models and everything tabletop, all the games. I've had so much joy and pleasure and satisfaction out of the stuff that they've produced over the years that, to be fair, I've never been one that's moaned about Games Workshop's price increases, but I see now, especially when you see some of the companies that Games Workshop are now dealing with, and even because companies just just artists that the Games Workshop are dealing with. The Games Workshop aren't the only people on the block who make beautiful looking scale miniatures. With the rise of 3D printing as well, and the ability for you to basically be able to, if you want to invest in a 3D printer, which until kind of the last couple of days I just thought was kind of pie in the sky stuff. That'll never materialize. It'd always be why would you want to 3D print crappy models at home when you've got Games Workshop stuff? I'm like, whoa. Well, for example, if you look at the 3D models from I think it's is it Lost Kingdom Miniatures, and you look at some of the stuff that they're producing and you're like, this is next level. And you can buy these miniatures and print them at home for if you take out the initial setup cost of your your 3D printer, for a fraction of the cost of what you would be paying if you got them through Games Workshop. And it's just a strange time that we live in, really, because everybody else, us normal people, our salaries don't go up by X amount % per year. Games Workshop, this is almost yearly or price increases. Things are getting more expensive and more expensive, even though they're managing to they've completely changed the way that they make models. For a start, they switched all to plastic. The technology that they're using now, it makes it so much easier and so much cheaper, to by several factors for them to produce these models now. You add into the fact that they're even offshoring the production of these models to countries like China. They're getting they're reducing their labor rates and all this. They're making all these business decisions to make their costs smaller, but yet year upon year they just keep increasing their costs of the models. And I'm like I say, I've never been one to jump on, Games Workshop price is ridiculous. Yeah, you know what? It's a hobby. It's a luxury. It's expensive. They see us as sticky clients that because we're into the lore and the hobby and whatever. We're gonna keep coming back no matter what. But I really do think that things are about to kind of hit a bit of a stop, because I can't see how they can keep justifying the price increases against some of them that like for example, if you got a really, even at like a top end 3D printer, and again, I've not run all the maths and I don't know all the costs involved, but I was just looking at like a top end one, looked like it was about £1,000. Now, like, you could easily spend £1,000 creating like a big Warhammer force. Like, I mean, I'm doing the Imperium subscription at the moment, and that is like what, £9 an issue, I think, times 80 issues, so that's like £700, say, just for that subscription run. And alright, you get some paints and you get other things in it, but you see what I'm saying? It's like you can easily spend going on for £1,000 on Warhammer models. So if you are in, and I'm saying £1,000 for a 3D printer, that's top end. You don't have to get a top end printer. I've seen something like £200. Like, it's gonna come to the point where, why would you keep paying Games Workshop all this money for them to create the models that they're churning out at a fraction of the cost of what they're selling us to for them to get the yearly price increase, when literally, like, especially with what's been the situation we've been in the last couple of years, everyone else's salaries are going down, if not gone. So it's I didn't think the day where 3D printing would ever take over, but potentially I think we might be at that junction, or just approaching it, and which would make sense when I see some of the other Games Workshop's business practices, such as all this, like the FOMO boxes that they keep churning out, and they keep like basically repackaging old stuff and just trying to just like the Cadian box set, for example. It's like it's a 10-15-year-old miniature, like set, and they just put an upgrade sprue, repackage it, keep sending it out. We've seen it in the way that they approach, for example, the video games angle. I think a lot of what Games Workshop do is like quantity over quality. So, for every Warhammer Total War, release, or Space Marine, or Vermintide, there's God knows how many, like, half cooked, poorly produced, buggy games that, like, don't really get any kind of, like, certainly don't get any good reviews, and they just kind of just like have this really liberal attitude to like their IP, as long as people are paying them to to be able to use their IP. And they don't really care if it's got, as long as they're getting money, they'll just slap the Games Workshop or Warhammer sticker on anything. And like the amount of mobile games that are out there now, they're just like, it's just like cringeworthy, like some of them. And like Black Library releases now, they're obviously like they've had the like Iliad, and that was the Horus Heresy, and that's why that's still being dragged out as it is today. It's like we're it's like Siege of Terror, but it's like that's still not been finalized and completed, because that's the in terms of the Black Library, that's the cash cow, and that is the Iliad, or the Gilgamesh of Games Workshop, and they're chasing that. But I don't think they're never gonna get that again. that that the actual lore behind the 40k universe and the Horus Heresy, that's a one-off. That's done. But just now, all you see is new releases. It's like this book coming out, that book coming out. There's like books upon books every month. There's like video games on video games, all tumbling out. And then I think the icing on the cake for me, not a very nice cake, was like now they're trying to get into like the streaming subscription market with like Warhammer Plus, which is fine if they actually had any decent content to actually put on there, but they don't, and they're still pushing that like, oh yeah, new release every month. It's like, you can the price is comparable to like like a Netflix type account or a Hulu or whatever, and it's like you've got nothing on there. Like most of the stuff is already on the internet, in terms of battle reports and painting guides and whatever. You got like old White Dwarf issues, and then you have like a handful of animations, and like I am just wondering if this is like Games Workshop's last sort of like cash grab before 3D printing takes over, and they're gonna switch towards just selling the 3D model files for people to print at home. And then if that's the case, that would be interesting to see how the pricing structure changes then, because like I say, are they going to try and keep that premium where you can go, say, for example, like Lost Kingdom miniatures, like absolute six, like such detailed minis, for like a fraction of the cost, because obviously you're printing them yourself. How a Games Workshop going to angle them there. So I don't know, just a little rant for for like it's good for the soul. And I think one thing that really capped it off this week is, especially what we've just been talking about, like the situation that we've been going through the last couple of years, and like everybody's kind of had to review their lives and review the spending, like batten down the hatches. Some people have lost their jobs and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I thought, like, oh, look at what's this? It's in a little tweet from Games Workshop. Competition. I was like, oh, Games Workshop doing a competition, and it was like basically a pay-to-win competition. You had to, I think for every £10 you spend on Game Workshop's online web store, you get an entry into this competition to win like free Warhammer for a year, which was like every like core box that comes out or whatever, all the paints and stuff. So like obviously there's a lot of loot to be had, but it's like it's pay to enter. You've got to go on the web store. You've got to pay for the full Games Workshop price, and every £10 you get an entry into it, right? And you think like during this time you've got like literally people who are trying to use their hobby to maybe make a platform or become an Instagram influencer, in the hobby set, in the hobby space or whatever, and these people are like going, oh, 500 followers giveaway, and like literally going out. Some people are literally being like 500 follower giveaway. Here's an army combat patrol, like a Warhammer combat patrol or like an army box, like, and spending like 60 quid on like a giveaway on their own channel, like that they're not making or not even, well, either channel or like page if it's on Instagram. But like they might have like 500 followers, they're clearly not making any money, and they're spending £60 to do giveaways, for people to all the usual like, share, subscribe, to my post and that. And then you've got Games Workshop who are at like the top of it all, who are making all this money, have made all this extra cash because everyone, over the last like year or so has been furloughed, has been at home, has picked up hobbies, and they run a competition, and it's like you have to basically pay to enter it. I was just like, that just sums up the situation at the moment. And like, business is business, but I just think like, at the end of the day, yeah, you might be a corporation and that, but like, you're still supposed to be a hobby. So like, just be sensible, Games Workshop. For the love of God, rant over.